how we could integrate our service into that device. Hiro was actually running that thing, that effort. But yeah, that's certainly forward-looking for us as well.
Or let you read.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It would seem to me that contacting the author would be the first place to start, because that's the person who's really
Gonna care.
embarrassed.
Yeah, we've tried that, yes. We have,
Or their agents,
Yeah.
which are usually mentioned.
That's a good point. You know, we have probably contacted more effort contacting the publishers, and maybe you're right. Maybe the first step is the authors, and that we have considered. We have contacted a few. Like again, I reached out to this computer science author who didn't necessarily have any issues in his books, but maintained his own error tracking, just to get his feedback. But we have contacted a few, and we haven't heard back.
I would think agents would be a really good place, because they're the one person, or an agent is the one person who has an economic incentive to the good, to do everything to maintain a very good reputation for the author.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, that's a good suggestion. Go ahead.
If you're going to work at the level of API interface with e-readers, perhaps facilitating error reporting when one makes a note in an electronic text, perhaps one option could be to report it to typos.
Yes. Yeah. I alluded to that a little bit on our hopes for an e-reader, where I don't know if anyone has an iPad and has read a book on an iPad. Maybe a few Hiro's a Kindle user, but I do have an iPad, and you can highlight words, and there's a system function that comes up and it allows you to copy, paste, or dictionary the word. And our future hope, and we're looking into it, and I am talking to an iPad app developer in San Diego, where we can add a feature to that and say, you highlight a word, you say report to typos. And the user can actually, it all happens in the background where they don't have to go to the site anymore. Because we're seeing that as a trend. Obviously, this is disruptive technology to not books, so we're trying to stay ahead of that. Again, limited resources, limited time, and we're just struggling to prioritize what's important right now. So we know that books aren't going away anytime soon, so that's still our focus. Okay. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I'm looking at the population here in our conference.
Yes.
And I'm also looking at the number of users that you have, one of whom I am. 700 is not a large number.
Right.
When you look at internet users, I find it absolutely immoral, first of all, that publishers would not want, especially textbook publishers, would not want to correct an error. And when you look at it, it's money. Do you feel that you're fighting an uphill battle? Because even though finding a typo may be fun and games to some people, it's not what you'd call sexy among the general population.
Sure.
And that's what you're fighting against.
Yeah, I would agree that we do have days where we're like, is this viable? Is this going to gain any more traction? You're right, our user base is, not where we would hope it to be. But yeah, that is a struggle. And part of what we're doing is try to understand what motivates these publishers and try to understand the business and figure out if we're reaching the right people. And another part of that is ultimately maybe we're contacting the wrong channels here. Maybe we need someone with more muscle, like maybe the graphic data service provider, like a broker that issues ISBNs, that provides metrics on books. Go ahead, sir.
You may be about to get to this, but I'm wondering how you pay for this.
We pay for it on our own.
Yeah. Is there a business model going forward?
Our model is how typos works. We don't have a monetized method yet. We don't have any way of making money. We haven't really thought of it much, but we thought, okay, there's no sense of urgency to that. We did have offers to people to buy in, but we really didn't know what to do with the money, honestly. And what it does is it just commits us. And right now we're on our own schedule, and that's how we like it.
I think also if you look at the complete project that we're working on right now, we're really still in this investigation stage. We're testing the viability of this project. We're looking out there, we're interacting with different industry members to try to get a feel of what is the right business case, what is the right solution, what is the right offering that we can provide to really improve the industry or improve the actual written material.
So I think with that, again, I mentioned the author for the Greek typo hunt. That's a confirmed correction, so we're pretty proud of that. And again, I mentioned the CNN.com article with the 2 errors. That actually is a blog. We can pull that up real quick, and then I'll move on, let Hiro take over. That's a CNN bookmark. Subject bookmarks. Yeah, we'll have to find it. If you guys want to scroll through and you have time to look through it, we do have a bunch more news articles where we found corrections in, where that was the one. We found mistakes, and that was the one that was actually corrected in real time by the time of that. Okay, so the next slide is we're going to get into promoting the site and talking to some of your questions about future plans, and Hiro's going to take over that.
All right. So as John mentioned, my name is Hiro Sasaki. Is everybody still with us? I know this is kind of long, first thing on a Saturday morning, but we try to keep it moving. And really what I'm going to focus on the rest of the presentation is some of our efforts to promote the site, some of our efforts to increase activity on the site, and also look at possible options for the future. And also we've tried to use some different social networking tactics to try to promote activity. John talked about a little bit of our work on Facebook and also on Twitter. And then also blogging. And another area, I know there was some talk about CEO optimization and using analytics and AdWords. We looked into trying to pick up on keywords. For example, when somebody's searching the internet to look for a place to submit a typo. Let's say you're reading a book, you find a typo, and you're trying to find out how do you get this to the publisher. We tried to, we're in the process of developing our AdWords campaign so that when somebody says, I want to submit this typo, it comes up with our website first. So that becomes, they associate typos.com as the place to go to submit a typo. When we first started out, we introduced the website as a kind of a friends and family launch. It's a beta launch where basically John and I and the 2 other founders, we compiled a list of people we knew, people that we thought would be interested in something like this, and we basically kicked it off like that. And over the course of time, it's kind of spread from there. But as I get into it, our key contributors from the reader population, those are the ones that we call our type A reader personalities. And those are the ones that we have some difficulty finding. They're the people who really are passionate about the quality of the materials that they're reading, and they really want to make sure that there's an improvement. And then, of course, word of mouth. Every time we travel, we have day jobs also, but we carry bookmarks around all the time, and we drop them off and hand them out. So we're always doing that. And also, we've reached out to specific authors and publishers directly just to see if we could start a dialogue. One of the other challenges that we find is that it's sometimes hard to find the right person that cares enough to be able to support us and be able to consider a dialogue. So we've kind of, I'm an engineer, John's an engineer. These kind of analytic things and the data really interest me. We're still really early off in our life cycle of the project, but we're trying to map out what our actions have on an impact to the number of users and the number of typos that we submit. So we can really, the way that we've set up the site, we can easily pull this information. And actually, this might be something interesting for, let's say, a publisher or an author, even, to look at their specific data segment. So we launched, our friends and family launched in September 2009, and this plot shows the number of total users. So as you can see, that was our launch. We got a big spike of users. In November 2009, we started using social media techniques. So we have some measurable benefit from using social media to increase, the typos.com community. Also in January 2010, what we did was we developed a test case with the student population. So we had some personal connections with teachers in different parts of the US. And what we did was we tried to set up a structure where they would use typos.com as a tool in their teaching process. And so what they did was They basically create